Hi, I got your energy stories for the second week of April 2022. And we're going to start with some news out of California. Well, San Diego Gas and Electric just released a new study entitled The Path to Net Zero, a Decarbonization Roadmap for California. There's a lot in there, but the key components include 40 gigawatts of batteries and 20 gigawatts of dispatchable generation from 100% green hydrogen, requiring about 5 million metric tons of the stuff just for generation by 2045. The plan also includes 4 gigawatts of electricity from natural gas with carbon capture and sequestration to support system reliability. As with many future decarbonization studies, this one foresees a massive expansion of the power grid in order to push hydrocarbons out of the other sectors such as transportation, buildings, and industry, with the grid in this case jumping over fourfold in size from 85 gigawatts of generating capacity to about 356 gigawatts, about half of which will be supplied by solar energy. It's food for thought and never bad to have a straw person. Also in California, in the emerging vehicle-to-grid space, last July, Pacific Gas and Electric had requested funding approval from the California Public Utilities Commission for 4 electric vehicle-to-grid integration projects. Well, 3 of those 4 projects were approved last week at a total cost of $11.7 million. These include, first, a 3-year vehicle-to-X residential pilot to spur adoption of bidirectional technologies for 1,000 single-family residential customers with light-duty EVs by 2023. Second, a 3-year vehicle-to-X pilot involving bidirectional charging fleets of 200 medium and heavy-duty EVs that are interconnected and charging at commercial buildings. And third, a multi-customer microgrid to support community resilience that integrates EVs into an existing microgrid to support resilience, especially in the case of fire and resulting public safety power shutoffs. The pilots are looking to prove out 5 value streams, including backup power, customer bill management, system real-time energy, system renewable energy integration, and EV export for grid services such as resource adequacy and capacity. Well, sticking with EVs, Boston plans to electrify its entire 700-plus fleet of school buses by 2030, starting with 20 buses next year. This is part of Boston's Green New Deal, which will convert much of its entire vehicle fleet. Charging is going to be an issue, though, which is one reason the Biden administration officials last week met with auto industry leaders to discuss EVs and charging infrastructure, including the administration's specific goal of a national charging network with 500,000 points, and the critical issue of interoperability, as in systems that talk to each other. CEOs in attendance included those from Tesla, GM, Ford, Stellantis, Lucid, and Nissan America's chair, and execs from North American divisions of Hyundai, Subaru, Mazda, Toyota, Kia, and Mercedes also joined in. In the meantime, EVgo DC fast charging stations are coming to 50 Chase Bank branches in California, Indiana, Illinois, New York, Oregon, and Pennsylvania this summer. The locations will include 100 kW and 350 kW chargers and will all be powered by 100% renewables. And maybe next year, some Hertz-owned rental EVs will pull up to those Chase locations, since Hertz just announced a strategic partnership with Sweden's Polestar to buy up to 65,000 Polestar electric vehicles over 5 years, starting this spring in Europe, and then later in 2022 for North America and Australia. On a less sunny note, only weeks after the decision by the Commerce Department to look into possible dumping of Chinese solar modules through 4 other Asian countries, Cambodia, Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam, 3/4 of 200 solar companies surveyed by the Solar Energy Industries Association said they already had solar modules canceled or delayed after the probe has been announced. Existing tariffs on probes cover nations supplying roughly 80% of U.S. modules these days. And finally, it increasingly looks like we'll see floating wind taking shape off the West Coast in the visible future. Washington State-based offshore wind developer Trident Winds just submitted an unsolicited lease request to the U.S. Bureau of Ocean and Energy Management for a commercial floating offshore wind project off the state of Washington. 2,000 megawatt Olympic wind project would be 43 miles off the coast. Next steps? The Bureau of Ocean Energy Management will conduct an initial review to confirm Trident Winds meets the legal, technical, and financial qualifications, and then it will subsequently issue a public notice of a request for interest to see if competitors are also interested in the proposed site. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week.